Welcome back, everybody. I say welcome back. This is like one of the first one of these that I've done. I'm doing some member spotlights, basically. ActOnThis.tv members who are crushing it right now. I've got Mr. Lawrence Russell with us right here. Lawrence, thank you so much for doing this, mate. I just wanted to do this more and more, basically. It's great every week. We get on the big boys and girls and we get all the BAFTA winners on and the Oscar winners and, you know, big directors and casting directors and all this sort of stuff, which is great for actors to hear. People are getting a lot from that. But I know that sometimes it's really nice to hear from people from the community that are acting on this stuff, going out and actually making things happen. And what I've noticed from you, Lawrence, and I don't even know, you can tell us in a minute when you even joined this community, because I can't even remember, but I've just seen you consistently hustling for like at least the last year, particularly since lockdown. Loads of great stuff's happened for you. I've seen you putting stuff out online, on social media, following up with the guests that we've had on. You've landed an agent. We did the first TV role fast track course that I put out. Yeah, you know, that was last summer sometime. You did that. Recently, you've got the TV role on EastEnders. You can tell us about that soon as well. But basically, mate, yeah, I just thought it'd be great to jump on. I've got a brew. What have you got?
Coffee.
He's got a coffee as well. And we're just going to talk about like the last year, about the hustle, about what you've been doing, what's been working, what hasn't been working, how you landed the agent, how you did the EastEnders thing, what you're doing right now, the sketches you're putting out. Just a lot, mate. I don't know, where do we even like begin? It's a proper casual chat, this. I've got no scripts. Where should we start?
So, I don't know. Is it still working?
It's still working, fine.
I've lost connection probably now.
Oh, have you? No, I can hear you.
Still it.
Yeah,
good.
I've
Okay,
got you.
cool.
It's fine. Yep.
So I did. I actually did the social media course with you in, when was that?
That was
2000.
End of 2019. Yeah, I even forgot we did that. You've been literally like on every single thing that I've put out. Lawrence has done it. So yeah, I did something called Social Media Deep Dive Live, which was a in-person event in Media City, helping actors basically with their social media presence, helping them get eyes on their work on Instagram. We did Instagram, didn't we? We did Facebook. We did Twitter. Which has been a big place you've hung out and had success. And yeah, that was 21 people in Media City. When we were allowed to mix in person, when not everything was on Zoom. Hopefully we're very close to those days again. So that was 2019. So was that the first time you'd come across Act on This at all?
No, I was still, I was listening to the podcast. I think I was a member before that, maybe. I think I actually first came across it like when you were doing Bulletproof Actor.
Oh God, that was even before.
Like 2013 when you were first like building that or something.
I didn't know you went that far back. This is insane.
Yeah. Been saying they're watching in the background.
Wow.
Ominously.
I had absolutely no idea.
Yeah. And then started listening to the podcast more and the webinars, and then seeing like the vlogs, sort of watching the vlogs and stuff, and then seeing the more and more guests you were getting on the webinars. I was sort of making sure I'd get the membership for that. And then the social media thing, I always felt like there was something with social media that was there that was going to kind of help in some way. And I've still not definitely got the most out of it. But a lot has come from that.
Yeah.
So then the social media workshop that we did, that was quite useful because I went back to that before I was starting to put more videos out, which was just before lockdown. And then I think just it's the preparation meeting opportunity situation, I think, came with that, because I was doing more sketches prior to lockdown. I was even speaking with my brother and a director actually, and saying like one of my goals is to basically increase my exposure to casting directors, agents, producers and writers and directors. Yeah. So I started thinking, maybe I'll do sketches from our world that will then people will be able to relate to and find funny, and then hopefully share.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was my goal, really, was to build relationships and trust with casting directors, producers and directors. And one of the key things with that, I think, was to get myself more exposure, because it was clear that a lot of them didn't know who I was. So seemed the easiest way to do that without constantly emailing them when nothing really was happening, was to produce sketches, so stuff was happening. And then it was hopefully also through the path of least resistance, like as opposed to emails, which obviously they're getting hundreds from, and you can still get a lot of good things from emailing directly, but it felt like that was the route everybody was going, and this way was kind of less asking, but more just putting it out there, and then they have the opportunity to take it and watch it if they want to. There's no pressure.
Yeah, so it's like they're scrolling their Twitter feed. It's like, you know, they can stop on your video if they want to or not, but like, you know, at least it's going to be available for them. It's not like here's a link in your email you've got to click. And that was so you started, because I remember when you started doing that, I'm sure you sent me, I've probably still got it if I go back through. I wonder if I've still got, I know I cleared out. This will be really interesting to find out, because I know I cleared out my inbox on Facebook because I end up with a million messages.
Actually on Instagram.
Was it on Insta? Because I remember you messaging me then and saying like either you weren't getting traction or something, or like, you know, should you carry on with these things? Because you started doing these sketches that were parodying. For those people who haven't seen it, just give them a little breakdown of what it was. But parodying, is that even a word? Our industry. So you're playing an agent from a casting director. You do an agent, Donald now, but what was the one you started off with? It was Mark from CastyCast.
Well, actually, I started off with Brad Tones. That was just like terrible auditions. So Brad Tone is doing self-tape auditions at home.
They're terrible.
Yeah, that's sort of basically born a little bit out of me feeling as though I have a monotone voice. So I created Brad Tone, and he always delivers all the lines exactly the same, no matter what character he's going for. I just wondered how long I could push that, and I've done quite a few of those, so I'm kind of wondering whether I need to now maybe pause him for a bit and come back later. But then after that actually was Mark from CastyCast, and that came because I was watching, I think what's it called, The Windsors, and there was a lot of interesting like voices and stuff they do with that, where they sort of elongate vowels and all that sort of thing, and I thought, oh, that's interesting, I could play around with that. That might be quite a funny character as a casting assistant, because I knew I wanted some sort of casting character. And then it was actually listening to the Daniel Edwards webinar that you did, where he was talking about the yes-no thing with actors wanting to know feedback, either yes, they got the job, or no,
they hadn't. Yeah.
And I thought that I can understand it from an actor's point of view, how you can get in your head about that, because I've done it myself. But I was also thinking from a casting point of view, how horrible and tiresome would it be to have to do like the amount of no's that you'd have to give out for a commercial audition?
Yeah.
Even if you went back to the point of everybody who submitted, and particularly if it was like an open call or something, or it had been on Twitter, there'd be thousands. So I just thought, I'll give this really nice, amiable guy the task of having to call back 4,999 people and tell them it's a no. And then that's, I
love it because you always open the phone call. People could, I'll put some links or something to some of these sketches underneath this video somewhere on this page. But yeah, like you would always ring up and be like really upbeat. Always like go, hi, yeah, you know, it's Mark from CastyCast. It's about your audition, and you can just imagine the actor on the end of the phone going, oh my god, it must mean that I've got it, and it's like, no, it's a no every single time. And I'm like, that's the reality of actors getting a no every time, in terms of, I understood Daniel when he came on. He's like, look, we can't do this yes or no thing. We would love to, but unless there was a system in place where you press a button and it sends out, I'd have to have a full-time member of staff doing this. I can't give 4,000 no's out. And that would be the reality if we got it anyway, because you'd get your hopes up so high. Oh my God, a cast director's ringing me up. I just did that audition yesterday. It's got to be a yes. No, it's a no. I think it's worse. It's worse than even just not knowing.
It is worse, because I've had that recently, and I pushed to sort of check if they come back with anything, and then it was unfortunately a no, and I was like, this is worse.
It's worse than just like having the hope out there that something might come back. So you started doing those. I remember you messaged me saying basically like, 3 people are watching them or something. Should I keep doing them? I don't know if I should keep doing these. And I was just like, keep pushing, man, keep pushing. Like, you've got to, and this goes for everyone watching this. If you enjoy creating the content, if it comes a day where you just hate it, stop doing it. But if you enjoy it and you are happy, creating it and putting it out there, it only takes one person to see it. Eventually, obviously, you should build up traction and more people will see it. And I've seen people sharing your work now. It doesn't ever start off like that, though. It starts off very small. 3 people, your mum and your brother will watch it. Barely anyone else will care. And if you're not careful, you get very downbeat about it. And you think, oh, well, what's the point anyway? Because people expect to go from 0 to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube in 2 days. doesn't work like that. When did it did start paying off for you? And then tell us what it led to, and what do you think was the reason it did pay off? Did you do anything differently, or like, just what's the story there for anyone thinking of creating their own content?
I think so like you say, I think some people, something will catch and it'll, like, within a day, it'll just keep going, and you'll suddenly get 65,000 views, and that happens. And that's how, like, viral and Twitter can work like that. If the right influencers with the right audiences can retweet, and then it will perpetuate, and the algorithm picks it up and pushes it as well, it can all happen like that. But I think with other people, it seems to happen quite a lot slower and more organically, where you'll pick up a few people. Like, I think that's the way it seems to be happening for me now. Like, I'll get the odd few people, followers here and there. It's slowly increasing, but I haven't had one that's just been like, yeah, boom, that's now 1,000 more followers because I don't know, Ricky Gervais has retweeted it or something.
Yeah. It's much more organic than that.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So that can happen, but yeah, for me, it was kept putting them out. I emailed you because, like, yeah, it was a bit slow, and I think then as well, I was wondering whether I should push to keep putting more out. So one every weekday, which is what I'm on at the moment. And I've been doing that, I think, probably since June. I've got up to, like, last year, I got up to like one every weekday. And then, yeah, so that was then speaking to you, and then I started watching the webinars more as well. And then that was when you did the Faye Timby one.
Yep.
And I put in a question, and for some reason it was weird as well, because it was like there was a little feeling of something, because I thought, oh, if I get in early, I'll ask my question early. If it's one of the first ones, I might get on and ask the question. I'd even, like, set up the angle of where the screen was going to be, so I would be ready. And then that happened, and then I was like, oh, okay, that's good, because I was asking her whether I should do a drama style, like how I could make comedy out of a drama and still be appealing to the casting director, or whether they'd see that and go, I can't see them doing a drama piece now.
Okay, so they just see you as a comedy actor or a dramatic actor, not both.
Yeah, or whether, like, because I was parodying something they were casting, maybe they'd think, I'd never now cast them in that, because I can just see him as making fun of this situation.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
like a mind's eye thing. But yeah, but then fortunately you said, oh, you should see his other sketches, and Faye's into comedy, and she's worked with Rachel Freck. So Faye watched it, enjoyed it, and then she retweeted it. I think tweeted about it in the morning, and then said, oh, I'm going to send this to Rachel Freck. So at that point I was like, oh, crap,
and to give people context, Faye Timby is Sophie Holland's casting associate. They cast The Witcher, and Rachel Freck is a very high-profile, mainly comedy casting director who was responsible for casting the original Office with Ricky Gervais. So both people working at the top of the game.
Yeah, so, W1A and Trying, and sort of really huge stuff. And it's like, since drama school, basically, I knew who she was, and I was like, right, I want to get on her radar. And it's only taken 10 years, so that's so that's again this slow build, but
yeah, it's a slow build.
We got there. So then very kindly, Faye put me in contact with Rachel. Rachel says she liked the sketch, and I think, strangely enough, one of Rachel's assistants I knew from drama school as well.
Oh, okay, wow.
So I managed to get a one-to-one meeting with Rachel, and then she said that she really liked the stuff, and she'd want to get me in scene for some things once the casting starts to open up again, because this was during lockdown when even self-tapes weren't really happening.
Yeah, nothing was going on back then. Yeah,
in the first lockdown, and then she said as well, there's. Basically, she was saying there's a few agents who I think might be able to help you out as well, if you're interested in that. And I think, like, my agent at the time was brilliant, but I just wasn't getting any TV casting. So I was thinking, yeah, that'd be awesome. So she put me in contact with, I think, 3 or 4 different agents from some really big agencies, and I ended up having a meeting with David from Vivian Claw.
Yep.
And signed with him, I think, within about 2 weeks after speaking to some others as well.
Boom.
Yeah. And then as well as that, then kept putting out the sketches. And shortly after that, the agent from Harvey Voices, voiceover agency, direct messaged me because I followed them because I always thought they were a very good voiceover agency.
They're solid, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and she had seen the sketches, followed me, and then direct messaged me asking if I had voice rep. So
I said I didn't even know that. I didn't even know this part.
yeah,
Wow, this is what I mean. Can you imagine if you just stopped when you sent me that email? If you'd have just stopped,
done less. Or...
none of it would have happened, man. God, wow. Okay, so what happens after that then?
Yeah, so then I so I was a bit like, wow, this is amazing because I even thought my next step after I got the acting agent was like, okay, I want to get a voice agent, and then I was thinking I don't want to divide my time too much. The sketches seem to be going well, so maybe I'll sort of put in place plans to get a voice reel because I thought I can't approach her without a voice reel.
Yeah.
But she was confident enough that from like the sketches and I think quite a basic voice reel I'd done before, that she said, yeah, you should update it, but I think we could get things moving with what you've got already. So yeah, I had a quick phone call with her, sign with them. And that's been great because again, when with these agents, you suddenly see the jobs that you have access to. And I think for a lot of us, that should be a big part of your focus and goals for acting should be getting with the right agent who's going to get you seen for those jobs, because nothing has changed with what I'm doing, but suddenly now because I have access to that and I'm with an agent who has trust with those casting directors, I'm getting in the room for those jobs.
No, that's it, man. Definitely. I think there's an awful lot you can do alongside an agent for yourself, like you're doing, and obviously that's on this, we bring on all the casting directors that we possibly can. They're all very open to actors reaching out to them themselves. But ultimately, you can't undervalue the importance of a solid agent in your team, otherwise, there are just some things that are very hard to access in the industry without that. There's a lot you can do on your own, but signing with a solid agent obviously has been a big part of the success that you're having.
I think that's it. It's definitely not once you get an agent you can then sit back and do nothing. You still got to do a lot of work yourself, and also you wouldn't have got the agent if you weren't doing the work yourself anyway. And you work together as well. Like he's quite happy for us to both approach people from different angles.
Yep.
And then hopefully the continued exposure on Twitter and social media is also the repeat it's kind of like repeat advertising. I see it as well, because there's that thing I think Tony Robbins says as well, like now these days I think you need like 15 exposures to something before you pay attention to it, because of how fast everything's moving. So that kind of makes me think as well, keeping up the consistency and doing the regular sketches and pushing yourself, I think as well, just to keep creating new stuff and keeping the consistency going, because they might not see it like a couple of weeks ago, but if you've got stuff out there all the time, they're going to come across one of them.
Definitely, yeah. And a lot of actors feel that they can't put the same piece of material out again because they've already, my followers on Twitter are going to get bored of it. I've already put this out last week. People need to realize the way the algorithms work is that roughly when you put something out, unless it gets traction very, very quickly, there's only really going to be 10 or 15% of your followers who will see that the first time that you put it out there. So you could really honestly post the same thing 10 times on the bounce in a day, and not every single person in your followers list will see that thing. So don't ever be afraid of reposting stuff that has either proven popular in the past. I do that a lot. I've got content that I regurgitate all the time across Twitter, across Instagram, Facebook, that people will have seen. I'm like, oh, I've seen that clip before. Yeah, but you might have done, but 75% of the other people on who are following this account haven't. And you can go back and look at analytics. I could get quite scientific about this, and I look at what's resonated, and I go, right, okay, well, this piece here with, I don't know, maybe Faye Timby, she said this piece of content here that I put out, that got, 300, impressions and likes and retweets and all this sort of stuff. Right, I'm going to repost that one because that was more popular than this piece here that I did that I thought might have resonated but didn't. So you can go back and go, right, well, if this is what's resonating, then my audience like that, I'm going to create more of that. So, that's it sounds quite clinical, but it is just what you've got to do really if you want to, give them what they want.
Yeah, I think that, there's a little bit of that with the sketches as well, because I'm starting to adapt like different ways of doing things and trying out, testing new stuff as well, because I know like clearly the stuff that's going for people at the moment is the ultra relatable stuff. And I think as also we're in a niche that can help things pick up, because also within our niche of acting and the acting industry and like the in jokes within the acting industry, you suddenly might get a casting director who's going to retweet that, who's got like 90,000 followers.
Exactly.
And then it bursts out wider. So you've hit your niche, and then it's hit a broader market, and then it might go out further again.
I find that with Acts on This content, if the casting director who is in the content, say Daniel Edwards, for example, or someone I've had on recently, you know, who's got a big social following, if I put a piece of content out and then they're in, and then they retweet it or quote tweet it to their 25,000 followers or whatever, then because actors like to often retweet what casting directors are putting out, tend to go, look at me, I'm supporting you. Everybody tends to want to retweet that then. So then suddenly you go, wow, okay, this has gone from 0 to, you know, 10,000 views in that one day. So yeah, if you can tag people in stuff that, you know, who it will resonate with, not just for the retweet, but, you know, if you think that it is going to be something that they will enjoy, then, you know, the chances are that they probably would retweet it. So yeah, it is an interesting niche, that acting parody world within the acting industry that everyone relates to. It's sort of like, it's very self-perpetuating, isn't it?
I think, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long that lasts now, because it feels like people have started to pick up on it. Because I've seen there's, maybe it might just be because I'm now just seeing it more. It's like the sort of, I don't know, not self-fulfilling prophecy, but like that part of your brain which sees more of the stuff. And I
reticular activating system is actually what it's called.
I was going to say that, and then I thought, I'm not sure it's that.
It is your RAS. Well, that's one for another webinar. But yeah, that's why you often see things that you're thinking about and you think it's coincidence. It's not. It's because your RAS is tuned in to actually seeing that. So if you're looking for a new car and you're thinking of buying a Mercedes, suddenly you'll see loads of Mercedes on the road and you think, oh, it's a sign, I'm seeing Mercedes everywhere. No, your brain's just tuning into that, you know. But yeah, maybe it's just that you're noticing it more. But I've seen that niche sort of explode over the last few weeks. So at this point, you've signed with the agent, you've got the voiceover agent. At this point, have you got any TV credits in the past at all, or was this the thing for you? You were still at this point after your first TV credit?
Yeah, I didn't have any TV. I sort of. Well, no, not any UK TV credits, because I did this thing that a production company that works with ITV Studios did, which was basically like a documentary about the Clash, and I played the Clash's drummer in that.
Okay.
It was for an American TV channel, and I was in it a very short amount of time, so that was the closest I'd got.
Right.
And then but then just straight off the back of the agent started getting a few casting jobs. And actually one of the things I said to Rachel Freck when I spoke to her was, should I keep doing comedy sketches, or should I maybe start working a bit more on my drama show reel, or maybe sort of do some sort of dramatic twist to some of the sketches? And she said, no, the comedy is clearly what you're good at and what you've got a passion for. So keep doing the comedy and the drama will come after that. So I thought, oh, well, I better take her advice. She seems to know what she's talking about. And then, the first job was EastEnders. And then I've also had another BBC 3 job, which is another drama, sort of with a bit of comedy in as well.
Oh, I didn't. Right. Okay. So tell us. So there's going to be a lot of people in the same boat, you know, as that going, right, you know, and maybe they have signed the, you know, with the agent. A lot of actors, you know, find themselves in this position. They've got what they perceive to be as the package. They've got spotlight, they've got a headshot, they've got a show reel that they think's okay. They've got an agent, and they're like, oh, I don't understand. I've been with this agent 2 years, getting a couple of commercial castings, but I'm not getting any kind of TV through. There's and I was mentioned before, you know, I did this thing called First TV Role Fast Track that kind of gets actors into the frame of mind of actually getting very specific about the jobs that they want, and then, you know, not leaving it all to luck and, you know, sort of just hoping that something will happen. It's actually getting very specific about your casting type, making sure that's in alignment with your headshot, your reel, you know, going very much after serial drama stuff like EastEnders, you know, Coronation Street, Hollyoaks, all that sort of stuff. So, you know, we focus on quite a lot of that in the, you know, the community and stuff. I don't know how much of that you were kind of implementing, but for those people who are like, I'm in this boat where I'm looking for this first TV role, but nothing's kind of happening. How did that kind of come around for you? Just what advice would you have, just as someone who's been there and has now done that very recently, for people who are sort of like feeling like they're treading water? What would you say?
I think so. I was doing the tips in the TV fast track. Like I was emailing because fortunately But one of the things you talked about was having day player type roles on your show reel. Fortunately, I had a doctor and
did you? Oh, okay.
and a comedy scene as a vicar on
Wicked.
my comedy show reel.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I was sending that out to all the casting directors from the continuing dramas that I knew were still filming or were casting to be filming.
Yep.
And one of those was Wayne Lynch. So,
legend. Love him.
Yeah. So he casts EastEnders, and I don't know whether he saw the email actually, but because I don't know, I have a feeling like BBC may have turned off their mail tracking system, because everybody else I'd been emailing to had seen the emails, but every time I'd emailed BBC, there was no tick whether it had tracked
right.
it.
So those people are like, what the hell's going on here? So as part of First TV Roll Fast Track, I show people how you can track emails, basically. So a lot of actors send their emails off, and then they get in their heads thinking, oh God, has it been seen? Maybe it's not been seen. Oh, they might have seen it and they hated it. I've not had a reply. And they make up all of this nonsense in their head that makes themselves feel bad. So there is systems and things that are out there that you can implement that you can track an email. So you know if it's been opened, you know if links within it have been clicked, if people have watched your show reel, all this sort of stuff. But it relies on the person's email provider, the email client that they use to look at their emails. It relies on that automatically downloading images that are within an email. The way it does it is it puts a tiny 1 pixel image within the email that when it's opened will be downloaded, and then that phone's home and says, yeah, the person's opened the email. Now some clients, depending on who you're with email wise, by default will turn off any automatic downloads of images within emails, and you have to click at the top if you want to download remote content, it's called. So some people have that on and some people have it off. So yeah, there's been people who've gone, oh, I couldn't track them, it didn't look like they'd opened my email, but they actually had, but it just meant that tracking pixel couldn't phone home. So it's not foolproof, but in 90% of cases it will give you info on that. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, so I mean, I did that, so I put that into practice, and also. And so I don't know what it was, but I mean, it's nice to think it's probably a conflation of the fact that the work of doing the sketches got me the agent. The agent has got a good relationship with EastEnders. My email was seen by the EastEnders guy. So hopefully all of those little elements. He'd definitely seen some of my sketches as well, because I'd seen that he'd liked them or commented.
Wayne's on super active on Twitter as well. Like, and he'll always answer DMs. He seems like such a nice guy. I've got to try and get him an act on this. The only problem is with people at the BBC is they're contractually sort of like, they can't do a lot of public facing interviews and stuff because it seems that they are talking on behalf of the BBC when they're not, obviously. And we could categorically state it at the start of it. This is all Wayne's own opinions, but I'd love to get him on. He's into comedy himself so much though, with his Smudge Winters parody that he does of a particular casting director in the industry. So he would really resonate with your stuff. So I'm sure you coming in it's got to be so much part of him seeing your stuff, hopefully getting that email, your agent's relationship as well. It's like a perfect storm.
Yeah. And strangely with that, in terms of how that then happened, was I did a casting for one role, which was a vet.
Oh, right.
And that was in December before Christmas. And I sent it and didn't hear anything, I think. And then it was coming up to Christmas. So I was like, maybe I haven't got that then. Fine. And then by that point, I'd done a few self-tapes with the new agent, and I was getting a bit like, have I missed something here? It's not quite working. Is it just, I think I might have emailed you with this as well. Is it just a case of keep on doing what you're doing and see what happens?
Thing. Yeah.
Or analyze them. And then we had the Babu Cisse webinar, and he was talking about maybe analyzing it a little bit. So I thought, okay, I'll set aside some time, have a look at that show reel scene in particular.
Yeah.
Had a look at it, and I was like, there's some bits here which I'm not too sure about.
The self-tape, you mean? The vet self-tape. Okay, yeah.
Self-tape. And I was like, I'm not too sure about this, whether that's working or not. Okay, next time maybe I can be a bit tighter on the cues, keep the sort of flow of it going a little bit better. And then I think it was even that same day, I got an email from my agent saying, we submitted your self-tape for the vet for another role as a nurse, and you've been offered that role.
Yes. So, I love it when that happens.
So even to the extent that I was thinking, I need to change my self-tape approach, because it's not working. I need to do something extra. And then hearing that was like, okay, maybe for me it might work that I don't need to go too analytical with it, and I can just go with the flow of it and do the work and the preparation beforehand, but then be like, okay, that's done, that's good now.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I don't think you'd have sent it if I just know that I sense how you work, and I've seen you putting stuff out there, and I'm sure the sketches that I'm seeing you put out aren't take one. I'm sure you are like, right, you're doing this a few times, you know what you're doing, you know when you're happy with it. I don't think you'd have sent the vet thing if there was something very off with it. I think what we can often do is when we think it hasn't hit the mark, or someone else gets the role or whatever, I know I can over tweak stuff, mate, and I can take something that is good and solid, and I can tweak it to the point where it's actually worse than it was initially. I just over tweak it to the point where it just stops working at all. So yeah, the vet scene was clearly good enough. I mean, it's always good to look back at stuff without a doubt. Sometimes, do you know what? Just sometimes as well, I look back on self tapes. And sometimes it's a confidence boost, because at the time, just as you're sending it off, you're like, that's good enough, right? I'm going to put it out there. Yeah, right, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Let's move on. And then sometimes 3 or 4 weeks later, I'll just find one and go, oh, I wonder if I still need to keep this, or if I should delete it off Dropbox or whatever. It's been long enough now. And I'll watch it back. And I'll actually be sometimes surprised and go, you know what, Ross? It's fucking good, that. Like, that was, I'm actually like quite surprised, going, that's fair play to you, mate. Because actually, you didn't get the role, but now I'm looking at it with fresh eyes. That's actually good. Like, should be happy with that. I think we can be so self-critical if we're not careful. And it's so easy to be self-critical as you're doing it, and a couple of days, like, within it. Months later, when you look back at it, you go, oh, yeah, no, it looks all right there. Yeah, that was all right. The lighting was okay there. Yeah, that line was good. We can often just want to over-tweak stuff and find problems in something that, where there are no problems.
And I think it's where you don't know what they're looking for as well. You might just sort of fit exactly what they've got in their head.
Yeah.
So I think it's an art, isn't it? So there's no science to it. You don't know that I need to hit these beats at this time, and then I've either done it or I haven't. That's the frustration with this. With acting, it doesn't, effort in doesn't equal results out. So
it's not a maths question. It's not like there's a definitive answer. It's not like you can look at the back of the book for the answer like you could in maths class. Have I got this fraction right? No, in acting there is no right. It's like, look, this is your version of it, and that's it. I mean, it's not even saying is it good enough or not. It's just your version of it. But the vet thing obviously was. So that lands you the straight offer for the nurse then, and then you've shot that now, yeah?
Yeah, so that I shot that in February the 23rd, and that's on April the 20th.
Oh, well, I'll put this out. I'll put this out right away. We'll get people ready to tune in. It's April the 3rd as we record this, yeah. Yeah,
so that's April the 20th, and listening to your webinar with Aisha
Bywaters
was she was saying you need to be emailing people saying this is about to come out, because that's you've got all the cards at that point, because
everyone watching. She was like, look, no one's seen it yet, you're amazing. It's like, get it out there, like, you are the star of the show, until anybody's seen it. It's like, capitalize on that, and then once it's out, obviously you can still email people with the with the scene. You can get Aisha was saying, get people a BBC iPlayer link or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd go even further and just go, we can get you that scene, man. There's sites and stuff where, if you struggle to get it, there's, I know I could get you the, just the scene legally online. So you have it for your reel straight away then.
Oh yeah. That'd be really helpful, actually, if I can find that some way. Because I imagine that's a lot easier just for them to click through to that.
Definitely.
So that was that, and then I think shortly after that there was this. I haven't had any NDAs or anything about this, so I haven't seen that I need to not mention what it is.
Just don't mention the title, but you can mention just to be safe. Don't mention the title, but it's a BBC. What did you say, 3 thing before?
A BBC 3 thing, and that was literally the sort of 4-sentence paragraph that I have in that scene. So again, it's a small role, but the 4-sentence paragraph was what I auditioned with, and that's going to be my lines in that episode. So it was like a burst of somebody having an argument with somebody else, I think, to sort of establish the scene in the location that we're at.
Okay.
And that was all the audition was. So I kind of thought, there's not too much to this here. If I just come in with the right energy and the right pitch and just send that just nice and tight, hopefully that'll be like, yeah, okay, cool, job done. I can picture him doing that. And yeah, that was a lot of trying to make sure I was getting some color in it within 4 sentences, but also not overthinking it and trying to show too much within 4 sentences. So yeah, and that seemed to work. So that was fortunate. And then I got offered that. I think that was late January, maybe.
Yeah, and you've shot that as well now, have you?
No, that's so we had a rehearsal for there's some like choreographed movement sequence as well that comes in with that. So I had that the other day, and then there's another rehearsal before the shoot day, which is on the 3rd of May. Yeah,
nice. So wicked, man. So you're on a little bit of a roll then. So you've not just got the first job; the second one's come quick.
Yeah,
after the first.
Yeah, so that was really nice because that was kind of two TV jobs within the first 2 months of 2021. So yeah, that had all been confirmed. Yeah, but
amazing.
Yeah, I think it's still like what we were saying, reading like the Happy Sexy Millionaire book as well. Like it's interesting.
Got it up here. So
I know I could see it.
Book I would recommend to all. It sounds really like not what it is. It's called Happy Sexy Millionaire. It's not teaching you how to become a happy sexy millionaire. It's about a guy called Stephen Bartlett, his journey from setting out to think that that's actually what life was about, becoming a happy sexy millionaire. He ended up growing a company from $0 to $250 million social media company called Social Chain that he's now, I think he's still a shareholder in it, but he's kind of exited as the CEO now. He's no longer the CEO. And it's a book about his journey, really, setting out thinking that was what you should become in life, and then the reality of that's not necessarily all joy and roses, that there's actually a lot more to life than actually just that. So I would recommend that. But yeah, what have you got from the book?
I think and even before I knew about this, actually, because I've seen some of the Matthew McConaughey interviews with, because he's had this book Green Lights.
Another cracking book. Yeah. I would get the audio book of that because Matthew McConaughey reads it. It's very, very good. Yeah,
you've got I mean, I can hear his voice, so I'm reading it, but yeah, I'm sure it'd be brilliant with him actually reading it. So that is a lot about knowing that once you're attaining things, like your daily efforts shouldn't be either I've succeeded or I haven't, and then that's what I hang my happiness on. Because I think even just getting this quick burst of a new agent and some TV jobs, I'm very quickly realizing that you're still the same person and there's still doubts. And even though before it was doubts about why can't I get an agent, now it's doubts about why can't I get a third job? How long's that going to take?
Yeah.
And it just shifts very slightly. So I mean, reading that, and they keep sort of reiterating it, that it's just you need to be focusing on the joy within like the doing of the deeds and the daily actions and enjoying the process and getting intrinsic joy and happiness instead of hanging it on the extrinsic of somebody's going to tell me I've got a job or not. So you need to be acting throughout your day like you've just been given a job, so that you're like bringing more kind of joy and upbeat and happiness around you.
Yeah, and doing like it's cliched as hell, but it is sort of like enjoying. It's almost like the daily practice. So if you imagine, I don't know, like a football manager, I always think of this, if a football manager is like, right, I am only going to be happy when I've won the Premier League, and I'll be happy when I've got that trophy in my hands, then he's going to, until that happens, he's going to hate every game, every win, every loss, every training session. Literally everything to do with that process, bar holding the trophy at the end of it. As opposed to going, I'm going to fall in love with the daily practice. And I'm going to enjoy each training session. I'm going to look at the losses and I'll replay the game and I'll see where we went wrong and I'll learn from that and we'll implement some better defense next time or some better offense or whatever it would be. So that you can be happy and wealthy in that sense, not necessarily financially, but wealth is not just money. It's like lots of other things. Along the way. And then if you do get that job or you get that BAFTA or you get the Oscar, we've had those people on Acts on this so many times who have had the BAFTA nominations, the BAFTA wins, the Emmy nominations, the Emmy wins, the Oscar wins. And they don't suddenly have a golden ticket to happiness the next day. Like they, you know, hopefully you end up with better quality problems in your life, but the problems never go away. And you can't be in this industry for the extrinsic reasons and the trappings and the trophies and the, you know, the other things that kind of come along with it. Otherwise, you're resigning yourself. Literally, you are consciously choosing to be unhappy over 90% of the time, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really short lived. And then also once you get those things as well that you've been striving for that are kind of yes, no, like finite goals, you'll realize as soon as you get that it's, you're like, it doesn't feel any different because you'll still go to bed and watch iPlayer or Netflix or whatever and be exactly the same person.
I think, why am I not in that show? I still got a part
exactly.
in that. Why did I only get 4 lines in that? When if you think back to going a year ago, would the person I was a year ago have given anything for the 4 lines in this BBC Three show? Yeah, definitely. So how are you consciously cultivating happiness in your life? I notice is really good, man. You have been like the model student on this. Like anything I put out and gone, this book's really helped me. Or like I noticed before you were saying about the high performance planners. I recommend these guys, and Lawrence has smashed it as well. This is something called the High Performance Planner by a guy called Brendan Burchard, Burchard, Brendan Burchard. And yeah, I mean, I use this every single day, basically. And within it, I don't fill every section in because there's loads of sections within it. But there's like the one section I fill in every day without fail is tasks that must absolutely be done today. Top 3 goals and priorities for the day. And it just always means that, you know, I have focus, I have clarity, I have direction with what I'm going to do that day in the industry and out of the industry as well. And I also have got better now. I don't know how you are with this, but I've got better at going, right, once these things that absolutely have to be done today are done, if I don't want to carry on and do other work, I'm going to reward myself with like some downtime.
Yeah.
How do you deal? Is that what you're finding? Or like, how are you using it? Just for anyone who might want to get involved with the planner.
I think, well, with the most important things that have to be done today, like so I think actually one thing as well with lockdown that really helped was getting rid of all the external noise. I put a lot of pressure on myself to try and make money and think of that as like, oh, I need to be doing that. But when all that was taken away, it was suddenly like, now you can laser focus on your top goal, which has been like regularly appear in TV, comedy and drama. So then that was when I actually used another one of Brendan Burchard's, his book, High Performance Habits.
Yep, got it.
There's a section. yeah. So there's a section on clarity in that. And that was one of the things I listened to over and over and over again on his Audible version of it. And that was all about focusing in on what your primary field of interest needs to be. And for me, it was wanting to be seen as a comedy actor who is really solid, lots of different characters. And then there's sort of layers. So basically it was going through all those layers. And then once the lockdown happened, I could then fully focus all of my efforts on that instead of like writing other stuff or doing other corporate role play or any other kind of cash jobs that I felt I needed to do. You could then laser in and focus on that. And then, so within the High Performance Habits book, one of the things with the 3 goals is I try and make those goals that are going to move the needle on my primary field of interest, or so acting regularly on TV, comedy and drama. Although actually doing the clarity, the layer deeper than that is what you need to be doing that others aren't doing enough of, which is building relationships with casting directors and directors and producers. So anything that's going to move the needle on that's what I put as my 3 goals, and other stuff usually ends up being like subsequent goals. So yeah, even if though they're important, I want to make sure I'm still moving forward in TV and comedy and drama my main thing.
Yeah. Clarity just on everything, guys, is so important. Like, you know, Brendan's a big advocate of it. It's very often the first thing that he mentions in terms of the first building block of any success. If you don't know exactly what it is you want, people might be like, I want to work more in TV. It's not clear enough. You know, what is it? If you are starting out, as we've spoken about, you know, your first job was, you know, a nurse on EastEnders. I think that is the case for 9 out of 10 actors. Not necessarily a nurse, but it could be a receptionist, it could be a midwife, it could be a carer, you know, a social worker, a policeman, a doctor, those serial drama day player roles. That is just the case for like 9 out of 10 people. Well, probably 99 out of would that still be the same? It would run at 99 out of 100. I think that's still the same.
It's more.
It's a little bit more, but like it's as in like so few people get to go from 0 to lead role. Although I have just recently recorded another one of these member spotlights with David Carpenter, another member of the community whose first TV role is a lead in all 6 episodes of ITV's The Bay. So it can happen, but lightning strikes so very rarely where that is the case. Most people, it is what you've done, it's now building up steadily those roles. But if you're not clear on where you fit into those roles and which of those shows you fit into, you find it so much harder to laser that focus, like you said, in on those things that really move the needle on that primary objective. Whereas when you have that clarity, it is so much easier, because people I think we don't appreciate this enough in our industry, but like, if you look at yourself, and I know we do, you're very much on the same page as me, as a product. This is a business. We are our own business. We have to put this product in front of customers, as you would do in any other world where you had a business, and the customers have to want to buy that product. We're in an industry, so very few industries, where we know the first and last name of our customer. We actually know the first and last name of the casting director who can get us in for that show. In so many other industries, you go, right, I'm selling clothes to 18 to 35-year-old males, right? Where are they? I don't know. Oof, let's just throw a load of stuff out there. We don't know. It's James Smith who lives here, who's in the market for our T-shirt. Whereas we do know it's Wayne Lynch here, who's casting EastEnders, who's right up my street for these day player roles that I have on my reel. And if I can put it in front of him, he'll be ready to buy it if it's good enough. It's such a luxury. And if you're clear and you have that clarity, you know exactly who you need to get in touch with. And I don't know why so many actors are so afraid of putting that product in front of these customers. I mean, how have you found it? Like, you've been cool with it, or will you have trepidation there, or what?
I think it's a lot of self-doubt. I think with the emailing is clearly part of what you have to do, but it might not get the results that the effort it feels like it's taking. Those two things might not relate, because sending emails to somebody who's in a position of power, who you revere, and who is the gatekeeper and can say yes or no to you, that's going to build up a lot of fear for that one small email that they might look at, and they might go, oh yeah, cool, actually that I'll keep that there because I'm going to do that role tomorrow. Or they might just go, no, not right now, and put it in a folder for, we'll keep you in mind for other roles or whatever. So I think that can get a bit too much in the headspace. And I think as well, like, you need to just keep doing it and be consistent with it. And it's like, if you're constantly watering the plant and you're not seeing anything moving, you might then give up, but you might give up the day before, like, it suddenly bursts out or something.
Yeah, definitely.
I think, with the sketches, that's a helpful way of doing that and getting yourself out there, because it's not all then about like whether the casting director says yes or no. You might get a few friends or something liking it, and that gives you a little boost of like, okay, and that's building that little bit of confidence. And I think Stephen Bartlett talks about in an interview on impact theory, like, it builds up evidence that you are doing the right thing and you're good at something.
That's exactly it. So evidence-based sort of belief, effectively, like building self-belief via evidence. So, and this is again what so many actors are so bad at, because they build limiting beliefs. So an empowering belief is something that you want to build based on past experience or past evidence. So you go, actually, you know what? I am good enough because I have been cast in something, right, already, maybe. And even if that was, I don't know, something that was an amateur production or a student film or just anything in your life where you go, someone has validated me and said, I am good enough to be in their project. That's evidence that you have something to offer. And then, the more you have, how you have evidence that you are good enough to be on a show that, I don't know how many people, 6-7 million people will probably watch EastEnders.
Yeah, hopefully.
Fingers crossed it won't dive bomb after Lawrence has been on it. It just gets cancelled. Oh, forget it. But you need to remember that every time you go on audition. No, wait a minute. Someone has trusted me with an audience of millions, and it'll be, it won't be as high, I don't think, for the BBC Three thing, although that's coming back as a terrestrial channel, isn't it now? It's not just going to be online.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it will be back, because I think that's later on in the year. So I don't know whether it will be out before that. But I mean, as soon as they put it onto mainstream, I imagine they've got a lot of slots to fill. So it might then.
Yeah, definitely. But so, you're going to get potentially a few more million eyeballs on your work there. And that's more than the 6 people who watch your first thing on Facebook. So that's going to create empowering beliefs in your mind. What a lot of actors do, and that's evidence-based. because you've got real facts. What a lot of actors do is they build limiting beliefs. So these are the beliefs that do not make you feel good, that make you feel less than and not confident. They build those with zero evidence. So there's no evidence that they're shit and not good enough and everyone hates them and casting directors don't want to know them and they're never going to sign an agent because they've never really put themselves out there enough to make those things happen. And yet with no evidence at all, they will create these limiting beliefs in their mind, which stop them from ever creating positive evidence that they can do anything. So it's fascinating, so you've always got to focus on, and you can break down those limiting beliefs by realizing that they're just an idea you have about yourself. It's not a belief. A belief is a feeling of certainty around something that you are saying is true. So if you say I'm not good enough, you're actually saying I'm certain I'm not good enough. It's a belief is a feeling of certainty. When you realize that your limiting beliefs are not feelings of certainty, you've got to start, doubting your beliefs, not believing your doubts about yourself. Then you can start breaking them down and go, well, actually, is there evidence that I'm shit? Have casting directors ever overtly said, no, Lawrence, you're shit and you're never going to work? Or, right, you've been sacked from a job that you got, they cut you out of EastEnders, all this sort of stuff. That would be evidence to say, yeah, okay, maybe you should start believing these doubts you have about yourself. But so many actors believe without any evidence, and they just are so fearful they never put themselves out there at all. So they'd never even put one of your sketches out,
Yeah, I think it's habits and it's thought processes as well that is like a habitual thought process. And I think you've also, one of your jobs needs to be finding a way to break that thought process and finding the tactics that get you out to that. And I found so I can get in that easy, like seeing other people sketches like doing really well on Twitter or other social media and being like, why isn't mine taking quite as quickly as that? It's really easy to get into those patterns. And I think, you need to find your techniques, whether that's listening to music or going out for a walk or going for a run or exercising or whatever, getting into your body a lot of the time and not trying to, I don't know, for me at least, not trying to think my way out of it because it just keeps you thinking about it. Or meditation as well, like trying to get more comfortable with the fact of being able to stand outside of yourself and observe, like, oh, I can see I'm thinking that thing and it's just a pattern. That's all right. That's going to pass. There's something the other side of this. Doing all of those things, I think, helps. And I think noticing more and more Twitter is kind of like the sea. You need to give it the respect it deserves. And if you're not ready to go in, don't go in just yet and just scroll aimlessly, because you could be, you haven't got any aim if you're going in just scrolling. You need to know what your destination is on Twitter. If you're just going to your notifications just to increase some engagement, or going to your lists to target certain casting directors and create engagement with them, or maybe other influencers or people you want to work with. I think if you just go in and you're just scrolling, you're at the behest of the sea, and it can mess up your ship.
The undercurrents can swiftly knock you off course. Yeah, no, definitely it is. I mean, that's clarity again, having a goal, and going, right, I'm going to work backwards from that goal. It just gives you that clarity. We're almost, I think, at roughly kind of like the hour mark. What's so we'll start kind of wrapping it up soon, but what's the plan for you next? How are you implementing what you've learned then over this period of, getting the agent, putting your stuff out there, landing these first couple of jobs? How are you going to continue to keep that motivation going? And what's clarity for you now then? What are you aiming for now?
I think keeping doing what works. So I think keeping up the sketches as much as I can now that stuff is going to start to open up.
Yep.
And keeping up with, like, sounds like an advert, but with the webinars, because that you're always learning new things about what casting directors want and look for. And also it's interesting, the ones with the actors, because you're seeing how they deal with certain things. And there's always like at least one nugget in there about how they deal with certain issues that you will almost certainly be feeling.
Yeah, and I hope people, and let me know if you're getting this from, because the whole point of these, so the webinars that Lawrence is talking about, the weekly mastermind, I call them mastermind sessions, but they're Zoom webinars where we bring a top casting director on, or an actor or an agent, writer, director, someone who's had a lot of success in the industry, and all of these have a little private chat with them. That's a private mastermind session where we just jump on camera, go through their career, all of their sort of experiences and stuff, just to learn from. But the reason that I know some people think, oh, well, you've already brought 10 casting directors on. Why would you bring another casting director on? Like, we've heard what casting directors like and what they don't like. it's so nuanced, guys. The reason you've got to bring, every cast director I can in the TV industry, full stop, who's working at the top of the game. It would be so foolish not to bring every one of them on, and multiple times as well, because you find out what projects they're working on, little things here and there. Is that everybody's subjective opinion is so nuanced about what they like in a self-tape, what they don't like, how they like to be approached on Twitter, how they like to be approached on email, whether they use Instagram or not. All this kind of stuff is like, and also I hope, and hopefully you see him as this as well, Lawrence, is like, for me, I just really hope every actor who jumps on one of these sessions, for them, it's almost like the catalyst and the permission that they need to begin building a relationship with that casting director, because it's the perfect excuse to reach out to them and say, hey, saw you on Acts on this mastermind last night. That thing you said about such and such a thing sounded great. Notice you were talking about this upcoming project that's coming out. Well, I've got this piece on my show reel that might be suitable. Would love to be considered, or even just a thank you, even if you've got nothing to show them. But just, I do honestly believe that success in this industry is entirely predicated on that clarity we spoke about before, but on the strength of your relationships. And the more conversations you can have, the more opportunity you've got to build those relationships. So like every single person who comes on is going to have something ever so slightly nuanced and different, to say on the way that they like to work. But yeah, I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think they regularly say on the webinars, like, since you've all been on this, if you email me saying, subject act on this webinar and send me something, I'll definitely have a look at it. And nearly all of them, from what I can remember, have said that. So you've instantly got an in then to email that casting director with something relevant. That is literally, other than me making the sketches, that is literally the route that I took to getting a new agent and a new voiceover agent and in TV shows. So that's any more proof that you want than that you can access those people, as long as you're also doing all the other things that obviously you would hopefully be doing as an actor. Preparing all those other elements. So yeah, I think that's a big thing. And it just, you're right. And also it's you see this in so many different books and stuff, is also that having a community around you as well. Like it's a community that's kind of all working and supporting each other. All of those early views of stuff are from actors on the Act on This community, because like somebody within there I've followed and they've liked it, and then it's obviously gone on to other people as well. So you're creating a community of people, and is there somebody coming into that as an actor, you're then part of that community, and it's extremely supportive as well.
Definitely.
So there's lots of stuff to benefit you from that. And I think, from your earlier questions, the other stuff I'm trying out is now trying to work out what stuff seems to hit quicker. And I've noticed like trending subjects often do that. So that's why today I did like another Line of Duty sketch. So basically the premise of that is that
I've not seen it yet. I've got to watch it. Yeah. What is the premise? Let's get people watching it.
So that's the premise, that it's a read through of draft 1 of episode 2.
Okay.
So that then gives you the license to create ways that the story could have gone, which don't make sense, and then ways that they came to certain decisions of certain things that happened in episode 2. So hopefully there's, again, relatable things you go, oh yeah, I remember that bit.
Definitely. And are you putting that out? Are you tagging? So Daniel Edwards cast it. Kate Rose James is on Twitter, but not really super active on Twitter. But people like Jed Mercurio, I would definitely tagging that. Keely Hawes, tag Martin Compston. Do it, man.
Well, this is what I don't know how to approach this, because I don't know sometimes whether it's good to tag them, because sometimes it's a little bit too much, like, hey, watch this, or whether you want it to kind of grow, and if they come across it gets to them. I don't know.
Yeah,
so that's one thing.
I think maybe you'd have to go with the again, like the path of least resistance, like who it would maybe resonate with most, maybe. Or do you know what? We'll fabricate it, tweet it, and I'll tweet quote it, and I'll tag Daniel Edwards in it.
Exactly. So yeah, that's what I need. And I think as well, like having the community around you and other people who like your work, a lot of the time, if they like your work, they will then do some of that work for you, because that's how other people have seen my stuff, because you liked it and then suggest Faye Timby liked it, and then she suggested Rachel Freck. And I think getting sort of recommendations from
Yeah.
people that other people value is then how things seem to progress and get you in front of people without seeming like Matthew McConaughey says, don't be impressed, be involved. So hopefully you're then involved, then, as opposed to tapping at them. So that, and then also I'm at the stage now where I'm not sure whether I need to start working on the quality of the sketches a bit more and doing fewer, so I can give myself more time to work on the quality of the comedy in them. Because I think with each of the characters, I always try and write a character that's a recurring sketch idea that has like a sketch engine that I can keep coming back to.
Yep.
So that I can prolong them. But I think sometimes then maybe like sketch 5 won't be as good as sketch 3, and maybe sometimes I need to spend a bit more time writing it, maybe go down to 3 sketches a week. I don't know. What's your opinion on that? Whether consistency or quality, or
I think so. A lot. It's an interesting one, isn't it? I'm living in an and world. A lot of people think it has to be quality or quantity, and I believe that it can be quality and quantity, but to a point. So not perfection, because you'll never kind of hit it. Yeah. I think having a sketch a day for that's of a good level, like the level that you are putting out. I think to put out 5 a week, I just think you're going to have a potential of one of those pop in more than spending time. So often in my own experience, I can spend hours and hours and hours, and I have done. When I used to do the vlog, I used to do Watch Ross. Oh, Lawrence, I cannot tell you the hours that went into that. Like, that went into the edit, that went into everything. And sometimes I'd go, this one's going to pop. This one is wicked. Put it out, crickets. No one cared. Yeah. Other times I'd put a video together that took 5 minutes. Boom. And I think, I'm learning that myself with Instagram as well. I'm putting out so much more content for Acts on This now. And sometimes, I'll put together like an infographic that's really detailed about an area of the industry or mindset or something like that. And it'll take me a little while to do that. And I'll put it out, and it won't get as much traction as a quote from Will Smith that took me 3 minutes to put out. And like, actually, you know what, like, and it all counts, because every time someone, and we shouldn't be fighting for likes and stuff like that. It's not validation, but when you want people to see stuff, the way the algorithms work is ultimately how quickly people begin liking, sharing, and commenting on things, and how long they spend on a post, which will then tell the algorithm, wait a minute, this is valuable content, show it to more people. So I think just not second guessing what you think. You can't reverse engineer virality. So sometimes you just got to go, look, I'm going to put these out. And then maybe sometimes it's the thing that I don't think is the strongest, or the audience will decide. The market is the market. You don't really get to decide what's going to be successful. They get to decide, and they only get to decide if you're putting stuff out. So I think you can do quality and quantity. And, it doesn't mean the quality drops right down. But if you have a look at the other stuff within this niche that is popping, like majorly popping, look at Johnny, what's his name? Weldon. I mean, his stuff literally looks like I don't know how much time goes into it, but like, it's very off the cuff kind of impro shot, shaky cam, selfie style, edited together, very, very rough. And I've seen nearly I think he's he's on a tightrope now that I think he's potentially going to fall, because we might have seen as much as we can see within this niche before we go, oh, okay, you're running out of stuff now, or it's a bit of a brutal. Twitter can be brutal as well. You can be flavor of the month 1 minute, and then the next, it's kind of like, right, well, we've seen that 5 times now. You're flogging a dead horse now. You can't do another actor parody for the 10th time, and we're going to find nearly as funny as the first one. So that's
because he's one of the ones who, when I saw pop, I was like, oh, come on, I could have done that. Why didn't I do that? Like, so I could have done that really simply, and I could have nailed the same stuff that he's very accurately and very well. He's doing it brilliantly. He's nailing all the very relatable actor issues. And that definitely hit me. Like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, come on, like, I could have done that.
And he's go on.
But strangely, then Annalie Powell said, "Oh, maybe Mark from Casticast should do a mashup with Johnny Weldon." So I messaged him and said, "What do you reckon then?" And he seemed like he's up for it. So that might happen within the next few weeks.
Yeah, I mean that absolutely, collaboration is absolutely key. But I think like from every party, that's what you need to start doing, is go, right, how can I keep the quality and the quantity up. So if he drops down to one video every 3 months now, becoming relevant. So the quantity has to keep going. The quality has to, it just basically can kind of stay where it is. Doesn't need to get better, or like anything wild happen. But it's got to start introducing a different dynamic into it to keep our attention. And that could well be collaborating with people like yourself and other people. There's that guy Harry, I don't know his second name. Very funny, he's just got a really interesting voice, just like the way that he speaks. But then you start going, right, well, will all these people parodying our industry, why don't we all do like a mega mashup kind of together to leverage each other? Yeah,
well, he's again great, and his are actually even broader, because like one of his was like about what was it, that waiting for the microwave to finish in an office space, and the conversations that you're missing not being in an office space. So he's done really well at getting broader. I think I don't know what it was that boosted him to that level, but I think as well, once you get to his level of sort of, I don't know, 30,000-60,000 odd followers, and I think he's represented by United as well, so he's getting in decent TV bits. That's when it kind of can explode quicker, and it kind of perpetuates itself, because again, in the Bartlett book, he was talking about how his first 90 tweets got him, or 900 tweets got him 10,000 followers, and the next 900 got him like 2 million or something like that.
I think it helped that he was the CEO of one of the largest global social media companies on earth that had Facebook pages with 17 million followers in, and he could just drop one of his videos in. I think that kind of helps. But yeah, I mean, fair play. Guy built all that. Like, he's incredible. He just understands social media to a level that, I don't know if anyone outside of that sort of intensity, of dealing with being a CEO of a company that deals with that 24/7 would really understand. But yeah, it is the first 1,000 followers is so much harder than the second, and then when you get to 5,000, you get to 10 much quicker, and then 10. I think I'm only at about 18, nearly 19, and that's on this. But and I tweet all the time. But it does get easier. The growth happens faster, like the more you are consistent, basically. But it's always difficult. The reason people give up is because they go, I've been doing this 100 days and I still only got 200 followers. Forget it.
I think that's it. I think, and just we're taking the small wins as well, like that people are laughing at and finding it funny, because also it sort of seems stupid, but like if my wife, who's also an actress who's in like the recent one we did, the insult cakes one, which is there's like a couple who have developed this insult cake business for NCT groups. So basically they'll put any message you want on a cake, and usually they're quite offensive because NCT groups get kind of angry at each other.
What's NCT?
So it's like when you have a baby, and I say this is interesting that not everybody knows about it. So when you have a baby, you have or when you're going to have a baby, quite often you'll have a choice to go to an NCT group, which basically teaches you about birth and the baby in its first few weeks and years, basically to prepare you for it. And the NHS runs something as well, but NCT is a private thing, and quite often you get groups of like middle class parents together who then subsequently on WhatsApp groups to share tips and stuff. But so not in ours, actually. We've been really fortunate, but we've heard some horror stories of very opinionated parents throwing their 2 cents in when decide to stop breastfeeding, or like decide to I don't know, do sleep training or anything like that. So there's a lot of like high stakes conflict in those groups. So yeah, we had an idea of insult cakes, which is that you can send them your response to
on a cake.
On a cake.
Eat that, you shit. Amazing. So yeah.
But like, so with that, so if my wife finds it funny and a couple of friends find it funny, you're usually in a good place that if you can just get the right kinds of people to see it, then you've got those small wins. So be confident. If a few people find it funny, you're probably on the right track. Because again, creating the Casty Cast, like when I then started to make that into a sitcom, I've shown the first 10 pages to, again, my wife and some other people who seem to like it. And then I sent it on to some of the casting directors who I've been in touch with, and was then sort of surprised that they've enjoyed it as well. But I think you should have more confidence in yourself. If a few people like it, you're on the right track. So
yeah, definitely. You've got to find the audience. Yeah, if ultimately, like, some of the niches that are out there that people, I'm always about, like, I tell people all the time, create a podcast on something that maybe isn't even anything to do with this industry, something just as a passion project, something that you like. If you like something, chances are, at least, I mean, even if it's the most niche thing in the world, there'll be, 1,000 other people out there who, if you put it in front of them, will listen and subscribe to your thing. So you have an audience. You only need 1,000 true fans, ultimately, really, to change your life. Who would actually, get behind something, or if you monetize something, it could really have an impact on you. So yeah, if you get a few people laughing, chances are you can get a lot if you can put it in front of the right people.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be the next great thing if I can find out a way to monetize it as well. So I don't always need to be casting stuff, but yeah, I don't know. That's another level.
We'll do a mastermind session on that, on creating side hustles as actors. I've done many over the years. Yeah. I've created plenty of businesses. Many have failed. Acts on this has been a really interesting one, because it was never supposed to even be a business. It was really just that's what's really funny sometimes as well, is like when you're chasing something for the passion.
Yeah.
And it's not anything that I ever chased for the money has failed really quickly, Lawrence. Like, honestly, really quick. And then, Acts on this, we took 8 years before it became profitable at all. It owed me significant amounts of money. Yeah. And that's managed to pay me all that back in the last 2 years. But that was just through consistency as well. And going, you know what? If one person turns up to a webinar, then I'm still going to present it with the enthusiasm as if there's 1,000 people that are there. And I'm doing this almost for me as much as for anybody else. I enjoy this. I love speaking about the industry. If you enjoy it as well, come and listen. If you don't want to, it's all right. I'm going to have a good time anyway. So just keep doing it, man. Keep putting the stuff out there. That goes for everybody. Like, just try and enjoy the process and not get hung up on those extrinsic things that we talked about before, and chasing the money or chasing the likes or the fame or whatever you think will come. Just like, one thing the pandemic's taught us: enjoy your bloody life, man.
Yeah, and like the passion hobbies that Elizabeth Entridge was talking about on the other thing. That's one thing I'm trying to find more of. That making sure you're enjoying all the elements of your day around the auditions or around whatever other work you're doing, because that's the thing you're doing all the time. So just keeping that level of enthusiasm and energy up throughout the day.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited, man. I'm going to go and watch your Line of Duty sketch. Check that out. I will. I'll find it on Twitter. I'll tag. I don't know whether to do it on a Saturday. It's a bank holiday. Maybe next week when people are.
Well, I don't know, because I thought about that. So I did it at 9 o'clock, because that's another thing. Tweeting it between 6 and 9. I read like a Hootsuite blog that was saying that's a good time for Twitter in the UK.
Oh, and actually, because it's a lockdown bank holiday, so people will be at home anyway. I know Daniel's moving into his new office at the moment. He's got a brand new office in London.
Okay. Well, he's already retweeted another Line of Duty tweet this morning that I saw. So I was like, come on, so close.
I'll get him. Yeah, I'll get him. Honestly, he owes me a favor. I did some edits on his website the other day, so I'll go right. Yeah, let's get on this. Yeah, amazing, man. But yeah, I mean, well, just like it's just all awesome to chat, and I'm excited to see EastEnders when it's out. This BBC Three thing when it's out. Keep writing stuff. Collaborate with Johnny and the other boys who are doing this sort of stuff.
That's another thing that I'm looking to do, is also with other people that I've worked with before and want to work with again, and try and work out ways to get them into the sketches. But yeah, that's a slower process, because that's a lot more like logistics and making sure people are available and stuff. So yeah, that'll take a bit of time.
It'll become easier as lockdown lifts, definitely. And for those people who are, I mean, obviously, the point of this is really to sort of inspire other members of actsonthis.tv. To act on. That's why it's called Act on This. It was the whole point 11 years ago when I decided to come up with a name. I was like, what do I want people to do? I want them to listen to these interviews that I do with people in the industry, now members of Acts on This, and go out there and act on this kind of info. What message would you just have to inspire the Acts on This nation, Lawrence? And also, if there's people who are not part of this community, like, I'm not doing this as like some sort of like, advert testimonial kind of thing. I just want to spread awareness of what we're doing here. But if there are people who are like, what's Acts on This? I've stumbled across this video. I don't know who Lawrence and Ross are or anything like that. Like, what would you say to them who were just like, maybe thinking of getting involved with what we're doing?
I think, well, one thing that came to mind is do and believe that which moves you forward, because I think that's a big one.
What's that? Doing what? Believe it, what is it? You broke up a little bit. Doing what?
The most important thing in the world to remember is do and believe that which moves you forward. That's something I keep
Do
in
and
my head.
believe
So
that what moves you forward.
that which moves you forward. Yeah. So making sure that if you know something is going to help you, just doing the thing and believing that which is going to move you forward. So if you need to believe that you can get this part, believe that, because that will move you forward. And do the small things, because if you think, oh, these people, like Twitter and sketches isn't like the only way through and stuff, that's just worked for me. But if you see that and think, oh, I could probably write a sketch that might work, do it and test it and put it out there, and then keep doing it. And also finding the easiest route to do the thing with what you have available to you right now.
Yeah.
Because that was how I started with these as well, because I thought, well, I want to make it really simple. I don't want to have to do lengthy edits or anything like that. It's going to take up loads of time. I want to be able to do it in one shot, save it on my phone, and then be able to post it onto Twitter without having to cut and edit stuff together, because that will slow down and make things harder and make things more complex mentally, and thinking like, oh, do I want to do that right now? Oh, we're frozen.
Oh no, I've got you. Fine.
No,
I've got you fine. Are you still there?
Are we still there?
Yeah. I can hear you, no problem. I've got you, Lawrence.
Here we go.
I've got you. Yeah. Are we back? I had you the whole time.
Oh, okay, good. So making it as simple as possible, like the Brad Tone ones I did in front of my self-tape setup, because I thought that's easy. I could just stand in front of that, film that, and move that out. And then the Casty Cast ones, I thought, again, I can do that in the sort of office space we have here at my house, and send those out. So keeping it simple and building up a practice as well. I think that's the consistency and the practice, I think, have definitely reaped the rewards, and having faith that if you keep putting it out there, people will come, and you will also develop your skill, which is a big thing. Because then again, that's an infinite game as opposed to a finite game. If I'm going to put this tweet out, somebody's going to post it, and then I'm going to get an agent. Job done. I can fall asleep, and then success.
Yeah.
Developing skills and building up your quality and your knowledge base and all of those things. Yeah.
Wicked, man. And if people are, like I say, people are clueless about Ats on this, just tell them to come and join, Lawrence. Basically, get them involved. What would you say?
So the important bit.
Put him on the spot. No, this is just the.
Put in this bit. Get rid of the other stuff.
Petch, he's going to edit this. Cut all this. No, I'm going to edit this. I'm not going to edit anything out though. So no, I want these to be like really. These are just raw. Like proper, relaxed, raw chats. That are just they're just dead normal, man. Like I say, we hear enough from. From megastars and stuff, and I want to do stuff that people really relate to and go, you know what, I'm in the same situation as Lawrence, or he's done it, I can do it, man.
I think. So in terms of Act on This, again, it's a community, so you can talk to other people and ask questions. There's Facebook pages where you can post questions like, should I email this casting director about this thing? Does anybody know what such and such is casting? Does anybody have the email address of this casting director? Could you guys have a look at this thing that I like, a show reel scene, or does anybody want to film a show reel scene? So you've suddenly got this group around you who are all aiming for the same thing. And again, it's very supportive, so you can perpetuate your work through that group and also help other people who might be looking for your words of wisdom or a little bit of, that's perfect, keep going, or anything like that. And then on top of that as well, you've got all the webinars with the casting directors who are going to give you some inside knowledge. You'll often think to yourself things like, oh, does that casting director desperately want me to be off book every time I go in? And maybe you'll find out for that casting director, the answer is no, they're quite happy and feel more comfortable with you having the script.
Oh, Lawrence, I've lost you in mid-flow. It was perfect. We've frozen again. No. Now we're back. Go on. So you were saying you're saying casting directors, yeah, you will learn insight about how they like ultimately to do their auditions, whether, you know, what's important to them. Yep.
Yeah, so you'll learn all of those things, and then also from other actors who are slightly further along the line from you, their experiences, what you're going to come across and what they've already discovered. And then directors as well, like that's another angle that you can go to. Like it's not always down to the cast directors; they don't have final say on everything. So you've got to influence those people as well and show them your great work. So there's a huge body of information going back, I think, probably years now, I guess, of interviews that you've got on the...
There's probably like, God, I don't know. In terms of the archive, I sort of have to take the older stuff off, but there's at least sort of the last 2 years on there, which will probably be about 200 hours, something like that. Yeah. Plus all the, you know, we do a brand new one every single week, obviously, and all the recordings of those go up.
Yeah, so you can even use that like ad hoc if you had an audition coming up with... I don't know, Rachel Sheridan or something, you could then go and watch her webinar, maybe get a few tips about what she's expecting in the room and go, right, I'm ready now. I know exactly what I need to do with this script and how I'm going to impress her, which is really crucial information that you probably won't get from drama school. You might get some hints of it, but they've got a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. No, honestly, it's exactly why I did it, man. Like, and I'm now going into drama schools and going, right, how can I set a curriculum up for you that actually gives you this stuff? Because it wasn't taught in 2005 when I graduated, still to this day isn't. Like, it's crazy. And it's such a huge...
I went to East 15. We should try and get you to go in there because I still know tutors from there.
Let's do it. Hook it up, Lawrence. Yeah. Let's make it happen, mate. Definitely.
Do that.
Amazing. Well, just so people, have been inspired by this chat. Like, you know, this is a guy who, like, I don't know, it was probably a year ago, roughly a year ago, had no agent, no CV credits, no clarity maybe on what it was you were going to do. Maybe, you know, wanted to do the comedy, didn't quite know how he was going to do it. And I've just seen you hustle, man. You know, put everything into practice, go away, act on stuff. And it's awesome to see you getting the results, basically, mate. I always ask every guest at the end of every webinar, what's the one thing that they wished actors knew in the industry? What would it be for you? A little bit of pressure on you. What's the one thing you want everyone to know?
I think it's, as we've said, making sure you have happiness in your life in general, outside of it just relating to whether you get the audition or not, and perhaps thinking each day I need to be bringing the energy that I've just been told I've got an audition, or I've got a role, so that you can perpetuate that feeling and it doesn't just relate to whether you're being told yes or no by somebody in the industry.
Yep, definitely. It's choosing optimism and happiness. It's a conscious choice. It's not always easy, but yeah, it is a choice. Definitely. No, I agree, mate. I think if you expect good things to happen, like I said before, expect good things to happen, more good things, you know, good things will happen, because you're going to be looking, you're going to tune that RAS we mentioned before into positive, into opportunity, as opposed to into lack and, you know, a sort of like misery. You know, the world is a wonderful place if you just look for it. Equally, it can be very hard if you look for what's wrong with it. You know, look for the good stuff, and I think more of it will appear. Lawrence, it's amazing, man. Thank you for being part of the community. Thank you for all the contribution you make. You know, you're a big part of the Acts on This community, and I look forward to seeing your success rise, mate. At the end of every session, we have the little catchphrase. I don't need to remind you of what it is. He knows it. Thank you for watching, folks. If you want to get involved in Act on This, actonthis.tv, or go to actonthis.tv/live to find out which webinars are coming up. You know, you can find out what you can get involved with over the next month. Every week we bring on a top casting director, agent, actor, writer, producer to help you get further in your career faster. Definitely consider becoming a part of it. Get your membership, and I would like to do a spotlight with you. When whoever's watching this, and I probably don't even know you yet, but when you join and when you smash it and you get your first TV credit, I want to do one of these with you as well, so you can inspire the people coming up behind you. Amazing. Lawrence, you know what time it is. Thanks for watching, everybody. Until the next member spotlight, which hopefully will be very soon. 3, 2, 1.
Bye for now.